Hello everyone. Today we are working on math lesson 1.2 of chapter 1. This is going to be two-step equations. When we look at two-step equations, just like in this example here, our first problem for today, there's going to be a lot more numbers involved, and again there's going to be two types of operations. There's going to be sometimes division like we see here, and then another addition or subtraction. So there's usually going to be one type of multiplication or division and one type of addition or subtraction. So in this case, for question 1, we have a division, right, by the 3, and we also have a subtraction, this minus 16. And again, I want to get in the habit of rewriting it in a way that makes it easy for me. So I'm going to rewrite this like so. Okay. Now, when we do two-step equations, we have to remember that we do addition and subtraction first. So when we're solving for x, we actually look at the addition or subtraction first. So I'm going to look at the 16. This 16 is a minus 16, so again, we do the opposite. So if we see minus 16, I am going to add 16. Oops, I'm going to add 16. That means I add 16 on this side. This here becomes 0. Another way you can think about it is they cancel out. 18 plus 16 is 34. And then I'm left over with x over 3. Now from here, what I do is I simply just multiply. I'm dividing by 3, so I'm going to multiply by 3. And remember, I'm writing a dot to represent multiplication. Okay, so then I have x is equal to whatever 34 times 3 is, and I believe that is 102. So x is equal to 102. I'm going to clear this, and let's take a look at number 2. Number 2 is the same type of problem. Again, two-step equations, we have a division happening here, right? This x divided by 2, and we also have the subtraction happening here. So again, we're going to take a look at getting rid of the subtraction first, which is really backwards, right? We're so used to, with the order of operations, solving the multiplication or division first. Well, when we're doing two-step equations, we actually go backwards. So I'm going to do the subtraction or addition first, and in this problem I have subtraction. So I'm going to do the opposite of subtraction, which is adding. So I'm going to add 12, which means I add 12. What this gives me is 0. And I zoomed out. Sorry about zoomed in. So let me just reset the zoom. This cancels. Oops. Sorry. That's a little blooper. This resets, or this cancels out, and this becomes 26 plus 12, which is 38. And I'm left with x divided by 2. Again, what I do here is I multiply by 2. I multiply by 2. X is equal to 76. And that's my answer. So that's how we're going to do a lot of our problems today. Most of your assignment is actually going to be different variations of this. So we're going to scroll down and look for our next problem. And we're going to stop right at question number 4. Question number 4. This is actually a one-step equation, or it looks like a one-step equation, sorry. But we have this little situation here with this y. we notice that it is a negative y. And for some of us, like myself, this kind of puts me and stops me in my tracks. I'm like, wait, what do I do with this negative? Well, again, I'm going to rewrite it in a way that makes sense for me. I just like rewriting my problems like this. Just have it, I guess. Now what I do here is, again, I see addition, I'm going to do the opposite. I'm going to subtract. I'm going to subtract 73. As I subtract 73. This cancels. Becomes 0. What this becomes is, I believe, 97. So then I have this negative y equals 97. Here's the thing, and maybe I should say here's the catch. I have not solved for y. I haven't solved for y. I've solved for negative y. So the question is, how do I get rid of this negative? And the way you get rid of a negative is actually pretty cool. Because along this negative, what this negative really means is there's actually let me do a little bit of erasing here. What this negative means is there's actually a secret negative 1 there. We don't show it because 1 times anything is itself. But if you see a negative there, always assume that there's a 1 there. So how do we get rid of it? Well, we're going to get rid of it simply by dividing by negative 1. And that means we have to divide this by negative 1. Because what I do to one side, I always have to do to the other. So this becomes y equals negative 97. And that's my answer. Again, let's go to another problem. Let's go to question number 5. Question number 5 says negative w plus 288 equals 75. So what I'm going to do is, I see addition, I'm going to subtract. Pick a different color this time. So I'm going to subtract 288. I subtract 288. What that gets me is negative 213 equals negative w. Again, I have to get rid of the negative. So to simply get rid of the negative, one way I can think about it is dividing by negative 1. Dividing by negative 1. So then what I get is I get w equals 213. Another way you can think about it is, if I have this, again going back to the original point, if I have a negative variable that's been isolated, just make everything the opposite. So this becomes positive, and this becomes positive as well. That's just another way to think about it, if that helps. But there's that. Last type of problem that you'll encounter is this. So we're looking at questions 7, 8, and 9. So let's take a look at what we got here. Sometimes you may get answers or questions that are fractional. But not always, but let's just take a look. So we have negative 16 equals 2x minus 2. Again, this is a two-step equation. Again, I want to rewrite it. Negative 2x minus 2 equals negative 16. what I'm first going to do is I'm always going to do the addition or subtraction and focus on getting that and moving that first. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to see this minus 2 here. So I'm going to add 2. That makes me I'm going to add 2 here to this negative 16. This cancels. And I get negative 16 plus 2. Well, that's negative 14 equals 2x. Remember, 2x means 2 times x. So what I'm going to do is I'm simply going to divide by 2, divide by 2. This becomes 1, and this becomes negative 7. So I get x is equal to negative 7. And then we'll go one last one. Last problem for us is going to be 7 plus 5u equals 32. So again, I like to rewrite my problems. If it's helpful, get in the habit of writing it out like this. It's really beneficial. So what you're going to do here is, I see addition or subtraction, but the thing is, the number that I want to move, and this is a great lesson, is the number that doesn't have the variable. Notice, we've been moving this number constantly, but in this case, we don't move the 5u. We actually move the 7, because the 7 is the number that does not have a variable. So that's important to note. So I'm actually going to cancel this. Now you're asking the question, Mr. L, there's no addition or subtraction happening other than here. That's correct. But what you end up actually having to do is you actually are thinking about getting rid of this positive number. So I'm actually going to subtract 7. That means I subtract 7 here. What this gives me is this cancels. This becomes 25. And we get 5u is equal to 25. Now then from here I'll divide by 5. I'll divide by 5. And u is equal to 5. And that is how we solve it. So a big lesson, and I want to illustrate this, a big lesson for us is we always want to isolate the variable. So we move numbers that don't have the variable. So in this case, we move this side first because this has the variable u. Okay, and that's it for our lesson today. Again, we'll have some more practice for concept check, but just wanted to make sure you guys got it, you understand it. Again, please let me know if you have any questions, and I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Goodbye.